Hi everyone. Today we have author Lauren Kate. She's written the Fallen series, which I'm sure everybody out there is very well aware of. We're going to be asking a couple of different questions. We've got mostly things on writing, advice for teens, advice for authors out there, but we're going to be dividing it up into a bunch of different videos. So this is the first in the series. It's about 5 videos we've got planned for you. And this one we're going to be talking about the writing process.
Great.
So, Lauren, we're going to get started. Kurt Vonnegut has divided authors up into 2 different types. He's got swoopers and he's got bashers. Swoopers sort of go right in and create a whole bunch of different pages. They just write, and then go back and edit later. Bashers, probably something to do with the painful process of writing. They sort of take a little bit more time. Every sentence is a bit more painstaking. So, what would you say you are?
It's a funny question. I can definitely relate to the painful bashing process, and I think my writing style's changed a lot since I started the Fallen series. Before that, I would say I was a lot more painstaking. I would go back and rewrite a paragraph 6, 12, 100 times, and when I started working on Fallen, and because the story is so big and complicated, I knew I had to map a little bit of it out. So I started swooping. I learned to swoop, I guess. And there are times when my fingers almost can't keep up with where my brain is going. So I'm going very quickly. I'm excited to get to a scene. It takes me through it. And I think I've had to realize and remember and feel grateful for the fact that revision is a possibility afterwards. And my books change a whole lot in revision. So I do as much kind of sketching and shaping of the skeleton as I can in the first draft, and then that's the swoop, and then I go back in and I guess bash it all up.
So you enjoy editing?
I love editing. I worked, before I started writing the series, I was working at a publishing house as an editor, and I really enjoyed that. I always knew I would leave eventually and pursue my own writing, but I think it taught me so much about the value of editing. Not just on your own, but the feedback that you can get from somebody, an editor that you trust, an agent that you trust. And so I do, it's so much more fun for me to do the editing side. The first draft is a painful, horrible, agonizing thing, and then revision is where it always gets better and it becomes more like what it always wanted to be. It's like your book grows up, I guess.
So that kind of answered my second question, which was, are you a plotter or are you a pantser? Sort of plotters.
It's so many terms I'm learning.
Yeah, I know, right? Plotters go in and they outline ahead of time. Pantsers, fly by the seat of your pants. It's what happens next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Again, I used to be a pantser, I think, though maybe I didn't know it. And now I'm so comfortable having this idea, having an outline that gives me a shape. And the best moments really in my writing are when I veer away from that outline and the character does something I'm not expecting him or her to, and the story takes on a life of its own. Everybody always says that, but it is a really wonderful feeling when something happens you didn't anticipate. At the same time, I always have an outline to fall back on when that's not happening, when you just need to get the story to the next place, and I will come back to the original plan and then feel free to veer away from it when I need to and when I can.
So it's nice to have that outline
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
But you allow yourself to move away from it. So that's very nice. Here's one for you. Weapon of choice. Pen, pencil, or keyboard?
Definitely keyboard.
Definitely keyboard.
Because even though I am, I try not to let myself revise too much as I'm writing, but because revision is such a big part, in the end, I love being able to just go back and highlight something, move it up to 40 pages forward, or expand on it, or delete it entirely, which happens very often. So definitely a keyboard girl.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Yeah. Favorite place to write?
I used to, again, to be a lot more particular about this. I used to think, I had to be in a coffee shop with just the right lighting, and I had to have my back to the wall so no one could sneak up on me, and my drink had to be this temperature, all these very specific things in order to get inspired. And now that's like a luxury that I can't really afford. I got to sit down and write today, so I just do it. Luckily, I found a place to live with a really beautiful view. So that my desk faces a window, and I look out at a whole bunch of trees and a lot of birds, and that just sort of makes all the difference in the world, because I do spend a lot of time staring at windows and thinking very deep thoughts, I'm sure. But just having a window is enough for me at my house.
Right. This one might be kind of tough. When did you first consider yourself a writer?
Well, when I was in seventh and 8th grade, I took like a 2-year English class that you had the same teacher, and it was like an accelerated reading English class. And I had a teacher who pressed me harder than I'd ever been pressed before. And I was really intimidated by her, and I always wanted to impress her. Just the kind of person you always want to be able to say the right thing to, and you never are able to, you know. And one of the things that we did in that class was keep a journal for the whole 2 years. And at the end of 8th grade, which of course 7th and 8th grade, if you're journaling, if you're a girl, you have a lot of horrible stuff has happened to you in those 2 years. So I was really nervous to turn in my journal to her. And I remember she wrote back just a little paragraph at the end, and it just said, "Lauren, you're an enigma. Keep writing."
Ooh.
And I did, to this day, I don't know if she means if she meant it in a good way or a bad way, but I think she meant that there's something, mysterious in you that you can get out, that had come to her in the journal that maybe hadn't come across day to day in the classroom. So I felt really strange about that comment, and it always kept me journaling, and then that led to stories. And I think back to Miss Calloway a lot.
That's definitely interesting to be called an enigma when you're in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, well, that's it for this segment. We have got 4 more to go. So definitely stay tuned for our next one. The next one is going to be on writing Fallen and Torment and others. We're back with Lauren Cates, and fans want to know, and I want to know too, Mrs. Calloway, are you still in touch with her?
So this is my 7th grade, 8th grade English teacher, and she was such an inspiration for me. And I lost touch with her after I moved on to high school. I remember being in 12th grade and thinking, I was writing my college application essays, and she figured into them. And I remember feeling like I needed to go back and get in touch with her. I went to the school, and she had moved, and the new principal, they had lost touch with her. But since I wrote Fallen, and I've been doing some publicity stuff, I've started talking about her. And at one of these events, there was somebody from Dallas, where I grew up, who was a teacher. And she said, "I know where Carol Calloway is." And she had to get somebody's email, to get somebody's email, to get somebody's phone number. And finally, we tracked her down, and she's living in Austin. And I gave her a call, and it was fun to kind of reconnect with her. I was still too nervous to ask her what she really thought of my 7th grade project. But we got back in touch.
What she meant by
her enigma comment. But yeah, it was great to reconnect with her.